So hello there and welcome back to the channel. This is Mel's Gaming here with another Ultimate Hunting video. Now it's been a good while since I last posted an Ultimate Hunting video talking about news, updates and teasers that we have seen posted by the devs. So I am really excited to get straight into this video and talk about the very cool things that we have actually been seen being shared from the devs. Now first we have this image of what is obviously a crocodile, which looks super awesome, and if that's the model, I'm very excited about it. Not the best look at it, but even that small glimpse is pretty awesome. Now, something I really want to talk about in this video is the delay that was announced for Ultimate Hunting. So while I talk about that, in the background you're going to see Ultimate Hunting gear pages coming up talking about different types of gear. So you're going to see different coolers, different attractants, rifles, ammo, clothing, all different things that have been shared by the devs on their social media. And there's some really interesting stuff in here. As you will have seen, there was some bait, and here we have some synthetic urine. There's all different kinds of coolers that have been shared, and all of these look really awesome. And the descriptions are really cool as well, so like I said, I will let those play on screen while I talk about my opinion on the delay that was announced. Now, it's been a few months since that delay was actually announced, and I was sad to see that this game has been delayed. It is a game that I am very much looking forward to, and the more stuff that gets posted on it, the more excited I become. Now, I have heard a lot of people that are very, very unhappy that this game has been delayed. A lot of people losing faith in this game because of delays and because we haven't seen like a proper trailer or any kind of release date or anything like that yet. But my opinion on the situation is this. I would much rather the devs take a step back and say, hey, we're going to delay this because we aren't happy with the way it is at the moment and we would like it to be the absolute best product we can possibly give you. I would much rather that they take their time and produce something of a really high quality, and that be what releases and that be what we see in the trailers, etc. It takes time to make a game this ambitious because it is an ambitious game. There's so much in this, from the equipment to the way that things work in terms of the animals and the animal behaviour, the realism that they're going for on all accounts from everything we've seen and heard. And that's going to take a lot of time to get right. And like I said, I would much rather that they just take that time to get it absolutely perfect and release that than release something that's rushed and that it just ultimately ends up not being what everyone hopes that it was going to be. And I think that that's something that games do suffer from, is ending up releasing too early sometimes when they really needed extra months, years of development to get to the point that they wanted it to be at. And I think that that's something that the gaming community has seen in a lot of different genres, not just hunting and outdoor games, but, you know, lots of different games as well. And I just think that it's going to be interesting. They have delayed it. I've got no problems with the delay, as long as what comes out ends up being, you know, better off for that, I think is the best way to say it. And maybe I've butchered the way that I've been trying to explain that, but that's just how I feel on the subject. I'd much rather wait and get a really, really high quality game than get something that the devs know shouldn't have been put out so early and stuff that they wanted to actually go back and work on. I'd like them to have the opportunity to do all of that, to go and work on stuff more rather than just rushing a release. And that's just my opinion on the situation. But everything we've seen so far from this game does have me excited. Everything that we've been seeing for months has had me excited. But we've seen some stuff recently that has me kind of blown away, and I'm very, very excited to actually talk about it. So, we have seen some very cool stuff there with all of the equipment, some awesome rifles, awesome looking coolers. Here we have an awesome looking scope. All of the details that, you know, there's so much detail on just these pages is basically what I'm trying to say. You know, these are just pages to give us information about products in the game, whether it's scopes or rifles or anything. And there's a lot of detail in there already, and that makes me excited. Here we have some different clothing options. There's going to be these trousers and then a pair of gloves. Again, these look really awesome, and I am very excited about the customizability of the character with different different clothing types and different camouflage. That's going to be really cool, I think. And this just makes me more excited for that because these camos look awesome. Now, talking about models and character design for this game, this was something we saw not too long ago. This is one of the NPCs for the game, I believe, and it was just basically like a mock-up of this character, and it looked pretty good. But something that I have seen recently shared, this has me extra excited. So you can see we had sort of the original sort of mock-up for the character Pete, and then you have the 3D version of him there on the right. And how good does that look? I was really blown away when I saw that. That looks fantastic. And if our characters look that good, that's going to be awesome. But now, moving on to the bit that I am most excited about in this video, taking a look at some of the animal models that have been shared. Now, we're starting off with the warthogs, and the warthogs look fantastic. I am so amazed at how much detail they have captured with these models. They look so good. Warthogs, I think, are one of those animals that are kind of hard to get right, just because they do have a lot of detail, and there's just so much in the face to actually try and get right, but these look just awesome. I think they've done a fantastic job. And then taking a look at a model here which actually has some of the hair on it and the skin on it, this looks so good. If that's what we see in game, that's awesome. The detail on the tusks, in the nose there, in the skin around the eyes, that looks absolutely brilliant. Very, very impressed with the warthog models. Now, moving on to another few models that we're going to take a look at. Moving on to the kudu. Now, the kudu models look absolutely awesome. I am very impressed with the models for the greater kudu. The only criticism I have is that the curls on the bull do need to be deeper on those horns. You can see the curls are quite shallow. I'd like to see some deeper curls in those horns, but they all look beautiful. The bull, the cow, the calf, they look absolutely gorgeous. And here we even get to see a little bit of footage of a kudu bull from this game walking, and it looks brilliant. That looks brilliant. The way it's carrying itself is just perfect. Once again, the only criticism I really have of this is that the horns need to have those deeper curls, and that's really it. Everything else about this looks awesome. The fact that when it takes a step, the ears actually move a little bit, just so awesome with the detail. Now, moving on to the next model that we're going to take a look at, and we have the Cape Buffalo, and we have a couple of sets of animations to take a look at. And again, these just look so brilliant, so natural, the way the ears move, the way the animal just moves. It looks fantastic. And you can see here we've got the chewing animation. It just looks natural and real, and that's just such an incredible thing. And the level of detail, as I've said, in this game is going to be incredible. If they keep this up, and this is what is going to be in the game, it's going to be mind-blowing, and that's what has me super excited. We also have the running animation for the Cape Buffalo here, which once again looks fantastic. The movement looks really natural, again saying that a few times, but it does. I think that's the best way to describe it. But now moving on to take a look at a couple of animation sets for the baboon. Now, these all look really, really good, but I just do have to give you a warning. There's going to be a animation in a minute that might surprise you and might be a little bit uncomfortable for some people, but it is a reality with hunting. Now, like I said, all of these look really, really brilliant, but they shared this. The following footage may contain sensitive content that might be found inappropriate for some viewers. Take a look at this. This is a baboon that has been shot in the spine. And yeah, it's injured, and that's an animal that is suffering. And it's hard to look at, and that's the point. It's not something that's nice, but it's something that does happen in reality. A bad shot can happen, and things like this, unfortunately, sometimes do happen. And it's then your responsibility as an ethical hunter to quickly put the animal out of its misery. Again, the level of detail in this game is absolutely insane. And seeing that completely blew my mind. And it's it's a different, thing to see in a hunting game. There's not a lot of hunting games that will show you something quite as graphic as that. So, very interesting. Then we have the galloping crocodile. Now, this is really interesting because this is something that happens in real life. Crocodiles will gallop like this. If you don't believe me, go and look it up on YouTube and you will find clips of it. It is really weird to see, but again, something that does happen, and to see that in the game and that detail is fantastic. Then we have a look at the pronghorn model here, walking by. The model itself looks fantastic. My only criticism is that I feel like the back leg is a little bit stiff, maybe, with the movement. Overall, I think it looks pretty darn good, but I just feel like maybe the back leg movement could be a bit smoother. Maybe I'm wrong, and do feel free to absolutely correct me if you think this looks perfect. I've never seen a pronghorn in real life, but just based off of what I've seen in videos, I feel like it's a little bit stiff. Now, talking about the realism aspect, and something you won't see in other hunting games, is this. An actual bleeding animal. It's bleeding out from a wound. I've never seen this in any other hunting game. Yes, you'll find blood trails in other hunting games, and you will follow them, and that's great, but you're actually seeing the animal model lose blood and leave a blood trail. This is seriously impressive. This was only just shared, and when I saw this, I was mind blown. You can see the wound there, and you can see it actively leaving blood. And something that I didn't manage to actually get to show very well, and I'll try and put a screenshot of it in the video, is that on the model, when it was being zoomed in on the video, and I couldn't quite get it right when I clipped it, is that there is blood around the mouth of the deer as well, to indicate that it was a long shot, which is fantastic. And then, just to finish off, we have this clip, which was a clip from multiplayer on the Southern African Hunting Reserve. Now, once again, this looks amazing. Look at that environment. I cannot wait to see a full trailer for this game. I am so excited. Like I said, the level of detail, going to those places where other games don't really dare to go, with quite, graphic, to some people, injured animations, proper bleeding models, etc. A lot of hunting games just don't risk it with those things in case of offending people. But they're going for such a high level of realism in this game that they're going there. Even the Hunter Classic, you can spine animals, but they will just lie down and look at you until you shoot them again, or they die eventually. It actually has an animal that is partially paralysed and trying to get away. Now, it's a very unfortunate thing, like I said, but it does happen. And like I said, it's a hunter's ethical responsibility to then take a follow-up shot and put that animal out of its misery as quickly as possible. And seeing a game actually capture that and actually guilt you and make sure you make good shots rather than poor shots, kind of mind-blowing. I'm really, really impressed by what these guys are doing. And yeah, like I said, it's not a nice thing. You don't want to see that in the game. You don't want to make a bad shot and end up seeing that, but it's there and it's in the game to try and capture the realism. So very interesting. Let me know down in the comments what you think of all this. What do you think of that injured baboon animation? That's what I'm really curious to hear people's thoughts on. Is it too far for a game, do you think? I'm very curious, because I think it's good to have the ethical side of hunting in there and not just popping shots at animals and not caring about what shots you take. I think it's an interesting thing to have captured in a game, that you need to make those good shots or you're going to end up in bad situations. So yeah, that's very interesting. And the bleeding animation on the mule deer, I think that's pretty insane as well. So I cannot wait to see what actually happens with this game, and I'm very, very excited to see more updates like this. I can't wait to see a trailer, and I can't wait to get my hands on this game when it finally releases. But that is going to be it for this video, guys. So thank you so, so much for watching and for all your support as always, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.